The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
As the world watches and listens in horror, the peaceful pro-democracy demonstration in China comes to a violent and bloody end.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Wolves hiding nearby, whispering do or die around me. You say your last good night while I
There is another very important phase of warfare. It has as its target not the body, but the mind of the enemy.
The target of psychological warfare is against the enemy's mind.
It is words and ideas.
The ammunition used by Psywar.
Its mission is to influence the thoughts of the enemy soldier, and at the same time
is expected and encouraged to study foreign languages and the social sciences such as history, economics, and sociology. He must have a broad and sympathetic understanding of all phases of human experience.
Gripping at my skin, the walls of night close in.
But the use of this force as an integral part of combat has now taken on new form.
As I wait to say my last goodbye.
These are the Psywar soldiers.
Caught Up is an echo chamber for content creators. Almost all content on this show, Caught Up, is created by citizen journalists. I share content created by citizen journalists whom I believe to be the best at finding facts buried deep into the abyss, or outlets whom I believe to be the best for verifiable information. We have to operate within their system, and we only have the information they allow us to have. These individuals who nerd out on fact-finding missions and then add their opinion to better inform me, to make the best choice for me, in this war of narratives is Resolute. This information war is a battle for your mind and ultimately compliance. Mainstream media would have you believe that an echo chamber promotes the spread of misleading information or fake news, thereby reinforcing one's confirmation bias. So, I am excited to share the content in hopes you will turn off mainstream media, whom I believe is just another version of entertainment. So again, welcome to Caught Up.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of the host, producers, or any affiliated organization. This podcast may include sensitive discussion related to topics such as child protection, abuse, and criminal behavior. The content is intended for informational, educational, and awareness purposes only, does not constitute legal, medical, or professional advice. Any reference to individuals, cases, or events are based on personal perspective, professional experience, or publicly available information and should not be interpreted as statements of fact regarding any specific person or situation. The host, speakers, and producers disclaim any liability for actions taken by listeners based on the content of this podcast. Listeners are encouraged to seek qualified professional guidance for their specific circumstances. Listeners' discretion is advised. All individuals are presumed innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. All right, guys. Welcome to Caught Up. I'm sorry. I'm running late today. I went to the commission meeting. It's on, I want to say the third Thursday of each month. But anyway, um, they don't get over till a little bit later, and it coincides with the time. I really like doing this podcast at 7:45 and not 9 o'clock, but it is what it is. So, but anyway, I did. I went to the commission meeting today and watched what was going on down there and that kind of thing. And so it's pretty good, just like always. They got their agenda, and then let people speak, that kind of stuff like that. So, anyway, I'm just trying to kill a little bit of time. Anyhow, welcome to Caught Up. My name is Brian Riley, and this is the show that originally started on Resolute Exposure. And maybe it's not as popular as Blount County Breakdown, but that's okay. We'll deal with it anyway. So, but this is episode 130, and the episode is he changed the game board. And I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, but I'm talking about our president. He changed the game board. While we had all these naysayers out here hollering for the 25th Amendment and all these other things and so on and so forth, he changed the game board. He put out these, well, I don't know that he put these out, but he shared these memes of himself where, I don't know, you can say what you want. He was in a Red Cross outfit. He thought he was a doctor. Some people say he was Jesus. Just, all these other things. And, well, it offended some people. And the only thing I can tell you is that President Donald Trump is not a politician. It's what we voted for. We voted for not a politician as president. And sometimes these things that he puts out there on social media, they're not always meant for us. They may be meant for, somebody else, some other faction, some other nation, some other foreign entity. It's not always speaking to us, but anyway, my show on Thursday nights Caught Up is more generally not as much about Blount County as much as it is about everything else. And I like to do the deep dives and stuff like that. But for whoever's watching at the moment, you guys probably already know about that. But I'm going to do I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping here, which I call housekeeping. It's not really housekeeping. It's just my version of saying housekeeping, I guess. Anyway, I want to share this right here. Okay, so where'd it go? There we go. Here we go. Check that out right there. Let's see. Let me split screen. Okay, I like that. What do you think about that? All right, Jerry Burns for Blount County Sheriff, and I'm going to do this till May 5th. He's the guy that I would choose. He's the guy that I would pick. You do your own research, and you choose the guy that you think that that you like. There's only two. There's Jerry Burns and there's James Brong. James Brong has been sheriff for 37 years. I know there's about 12,000 people out there that think he's just the greatest thing since sliced bread, and that's great. But it's been 37 years. 37 years. 37 years. And I don't believe he's going to finish the next 4 years. I think he's going to get in there and find that maybe he's would much rather be golfing, which is what we want him to do, is go golfing and step aside and have the commission appoint somebody of his own choosing. So let our voice be heard by voting for Jerry Burns. And we just need 1, 2, 3, or 4 more people than James Brong. And so, let's do our part and let's put Jerry Burns in the driver's seat as sheriff, if you so agree. And you may not, I don't know. But I do. And so I wanted to do that right there. And then let's see. There is hang on. See if I can find it real quick. Yeah, maybe. Hang on one second. I wanted to plug one more thing. I just got to pull it up. You know what? Let me do this. Wrong one. Sorry, guys. I'm looking for the flyer. It's so much better when you have people that'll help you. You're like, hey, Robert, can you pull that up? Or, hey, Crystal, you got that, real quick. And then right in the middle of it, you're looking for, goodness, I really would have thought. There we go. I found it. I'd like to say hi to everybody in the chat. Appreciate all the chatter in there. We got this right here going on. Look at that. That is Protect the Children Community Leadership Forum, and that is Saturday at the library from 1:30 to 3:30, April 18th. It's not a political event. It's not a debate. It's not anything like that. It is exactly what it says at the top of that flyer, which is Protect the Children. You have Dr. Melissa Marinville, who will be on tomorrow night to do another short segment, shorter than the last one that we did, about some things that go hand in hand with Protect the Children. You're going to have Dr. Jeff Coggin, and you're going to have Jerry Burns. They're all going to have their points of view, and they are a wealth of information and knowledge. And I would suggest that you show up at the library. We're going to do our best to try to promote this thing live if I can. If they will allow me to, I will. But otherwise, we would ask that you would show up. It's just 2 hours. Meet the people. Meet some of these other people. Meet us. Meet me, Brian. Meet Robert. Meet Crystal, and meet Jason. We're all going to be there. That kind of thing. And but this is what this is all about right here, which is protect the children, and we like that. We're right there. And so. One more thing, guys, that I want to promote. And Melissa's got it on her. DeVille Frontline of Justice here. Right here. Right here. Let's see. Do this right here. Let's share this right there. Look at them. Look at them two handsome guys. Look what AI does for us. Takes all the wrinkles away, removes all that, look, removes all that. Look, I don't have the same dimples the same way, Of course, the beard's kind of still gray, but you know what? It don't look anything like us, but me and Robert love it. But tomorrow, 7 o'clock, systems, accountability, and child sex abuse. Melissa's going to come on. Under an hour. We're going to keep it under an hour. Great wealth of information right there. Dr. Melissa Marinville. look up her stuff. It's let's see, DeVille Frontline of Justice. Google her and check it out. But she is going to wow us again tomorrow, as it's to make it sound like being wowed is a fun thing. The topic is not necessarily the most fun thing to be wowed about. So take all fun out of it and all seriousness back in it. She is great at what she does, and I'm happy and honored to have her on the show to talk about such events and things and ways to inform us, and just a great wealth of information, and more of that to come in the future. Other guests that are like-minded, that like doing the same thing. Maybe not necessarily that topic, but topics that are similar to and like that. And then one more thing here. Let's not forget in the little thing here, right here. Maybe that is better. I don't know what it's doing. Look at that presentation. I probably should have used that from the get-go. Beth Reese Myers for Register of Deeds. If you're, again, nothing against her opponent other than the fact that she's probably been sitting in the same chair for a very, very long time. And maybe it's time for something new. And if you haven't met Miss Beth Myers Reese for Register of Deeds, check out our interview with her. She is a super wealth of education, very knowledgeable, and she is overqualified probably for the position. And so if you are, again, tired of the same old crackers and you want some new crackers in there, not anything that's stale, something that's crisp and crunchy, well, there's a slate of new candidates out there, and I would suggest that you do your research and you go out and vote. Of course, it's early voting, and if anybody knows me, you probably know how I feel about early voting, which is vote May 5th. But if you feel the need to vote early, they have a lot of locations available that you can do that at, and you don't have to necessarily vote in your precinct, but you can do that on May 5th if that's what you choose to do, and get out there and vote for the candidate that you did your research on. Don't waste your vote. Don't waste your vote. And if you're tired of the same old, just, people been in there forever, then there's several good candidates out there that will replace those that you might think have been in that office for a tad too long. Look here, we got William Goins in here, says, Brown is hoping that Marcia is going to win the governor post and puts him in her place so he can put his chief deputy in place. He still has control. Anyway, I should probably put my glasses on. Also, Alan Latham for county clerk. I didn't mess it up this time. There's another good one out there that, if you want a little bit fresh point of view and all that good stuff. Anyway, these are your guys. I have a whole bunch of them on my podcast on Rumble and Facebook, and I need to quit saying I wish somebody was here to let me know to stop saying but there's a bunch of them on there, and a lot of good ones. And if you're just over the same old stuff, guys, well, there are plenty of candidates out there to fill the need in all the positions that we have. And again, thanks for everybody that's watching. Like, share, and follow. And all right, let's get into the show. That was enough of the housekeeping there for Blount County. So got this little video here I want to show. That I'm like I like talking about the deep dive stuff. I think that what's going on right now outside of the borders of our country, and there I went and said again, outside of the borders of our country are done by design, were planned a long time ago, are being handled with fail-safes involved, and I really, truly think that the outcome in the end is going to benefit not just America, but the world. As you all know, that all that oil that's over there in Iran and in that region in the Middle East, we use none of it. Where we do use it is if we continue to buy all of our products and stuff through China and other countries like that, their petroleum-based products are what we are purchasing. We may pay a higher price for those based on what's going on in Iran. So I would suggest that maybe you look and research and do your diligence of maybe trying to buy America first and just sidestepping all that stuff over there anyway. And it's all cheap stuff anyway. It's just going to be higher priced cheap stuff now. So that oil and stuff over there, it's not for us. It's for those countries. It's for Europe. It's for France. It's for China. That kind of stuff. And so when these things that are happening the way that they are right now over there in that region, these countries that aren't stepping up to help incentivize and keep what's theirs so that they keep their economy running with energy and keep their products at a reasonable price, why aren't they coming to the table? Where's NATO? We absolutely fund NATO 110%, and where are they at? And they're not there. And so it's time to defund NATO and take whatever piece of property that they have been given here in the United States to put a fancy little building on so that they can run their operations out of needs to be removed, or at least the administration that's inside that. And let's find better ways to use that piece of property to do something else. But NATO is not our friend. These allegiance or alliances that we have with these countries that are involved with NATO, which are predominantly the ones that I just talked about a minute ago, that are the ones that need the oil that comes out of that region, are not stepping up to the plate either. But you can bet your ass that if they were in the middle of a conflict over there and the United States did not do their diligence into whatever piece of paper that they claim that we signed, saying that if someone did something to them, we would be there to back them up. If we weren't there, I wonder how hard they would cry. You see, we fund the world with the US dollar. We are the largest consumer in the world, and we consume everything, right, wrong, or indifferent. We also police the world, which is not where we should be either, right, wrong, or indifferent, with our youthful, young, and mighty military. And it's time to stop all that stuff. And I think that the old guard, these New World Order people, are getting a strong dose of reality of what's not going to happen, because none of this exists the way that they want it to without the United States of America and its citizens. Regardless of what you hear with all these other podcasters and the mainstream media and this, that, and the other, none of that stuff works without the United States of America, without our ability to consume and everything else, our mighty military and how wealthy our nation is. Doesn't work. And you're seeing that. You're seeing that through peace through strength from our president. And it's pissing these old guard off. And they don't know what to think, and they can't understand how he's getting ahead of everything and all that other stuff. And while the biggest part of social media and some of these giant platforms like Alex Jones and Tucker, Candace Owens, and many, many more have jumped ship again, talking about the 25th Amendment and everything else. Again, it was some of this maybe just an op for them to show the rest of the country when things are going good, they're with Donald, but when they don't agree with some of the things, they are absolutely against Donald. I don't agree with the war in Iraq. Damn sure don't agree with boots on the ground. Have a son in the military and one that is a veteran and many, many, many family members. And I know exactly what that type of garbage does to families when people don't come home the way that they left. So I'm not for everything that's going on, but I do understand the bigger picture. And it's not about today, and it ain't about tomorrow. It's about the future. And it's about to make sure that this old guard doesn't capture our country the way that it has for the last 50 or 60 years, at least the length of my life, if not longer. And so we're going to go through some videos, or I'm going to show some videos of some stuff of some like-minded people who think of the same that as I do, who help try to shape that these narratives that are coming out. And we ask that when you see the things that come out on the news and social media, like the picture of Donald Trump with the red thing over and the white, claiming to be Jesus. He's got the light. He's touching a person. And all these things are going on around him. That is just for entertainment, folks, and not to find a way to be offended. Who cares? He's not a politician. Speaking to another demographic, another group of people, maybe even a whole other country. Who knows, right? Maybe he's teasing the Pope. Maybe he's teasing the Red Cross. Who knows? He has a sense of humor. But I can tell you what it didn't do to me. It did make me change my mind about who he was and what direction he was going and what the plan may or may not be. But what it did was I got a big laugh out of it. And all the seriousness that's going on right now in the world, I laughed at the fact that he could sit that out there that somebody made because he knew it was going to do this Trump deranged syndrome. And then all of these Senate and Congress and this, that, and the other, they come out. Anyway, let's just check out this short video real quick. I say let's, because I know I got this stellar studio behind me with all these people. Look here. I can't get it to rewind for me. Hush. There we go. Oh, I guess I should share it. You guys would probably like to see that, huh? Right, here we go. All right.
Experience with people in this movement, in the community, who they talk about faith, they post about faith, they do shows about faith, but then behind the scenes and like what these people have done, they're total hypocrites. They're literally frauds. Like they lie, they cheat, they steal, they defame, they do all these bullshit things, but then they're out here talking like Bible quotes on social media and all these things. And it's absurd, but they do it because they know that they can make a buck doing it. That's literally why they do it. People fall for it. People see somebody posting a Bible quote. And it's why I don't do it, because I see other people doing it, and it devalues it for me to even want to do it. So I rarely talk about my faith or anything publicly. And it's because seeing the other way people do it, I don't want to come off as that, even though I know some people don't actually see that's what those people are doing. Anyway.
Yeah, totally. It is a virtue signal to people with certain belief backgrounds. And all good. If you, like, people of faith want to know that other people of faith are out there saying true things and fighting for what they believe is a worthwhile cause. So it's not surprising that it takes people in, because it's kind of part of Christianity that you give people the benefit of the doubt on that and hope that even if they're having a false experience publicly, that something about that experience is going to lead them closer to God. And it's all ultimately in God's hands anyway. We're not the judges of that stuff, but it's still, I think, worthwhile to point out when faith is being manipulated and used specifically for causes that it's not supposed to be used for. And a lot of people in the post Charlie Kirk thing were talking about this great American revival. And maybe that's happening in some sense. I certainly hope it is. But there's also the whole Seven Mountain Mandate and the idea that religion and Christian belief is a vehicle for political change. And I think that true Christianity exists outside of politics.
I agree. I agree with that.
I thought maybe we might take it this way.
So that's pretty interesting what they say right there. I love how he talks about how they use that little bit of the agenda, and somehow I got stuck in a different realm here. Yeah. Love Chris Paul. I think the insight that Chris Paul gives is pretty spot on. And let me go right here real quick. There's a pretty good chat going on, it looks like. You got Jason in there. You got Ed Reno in there. William Goins. Alan Latham. Robert Costner's in there again. All right. Like seeing that. Plenty of comments going on. Ed asked a question. He's still talking about what's going on with the Blount County thing. Question for the moment was, how many former Blount County sheriffs have been convicted and incarcerated after leaving office? I think 2. He says he was related to them. I just don't know about all that. I know of one for sure, but I don't know about the rest of them. Let's see. Let me go back to where was that right here. Okay, so oh, it moved it up. Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm not the biggest fan of Jesse Waters either. I don't really watch a whole lot of Fox News. But sometimes he puts things together and neatly wraps it up in a little bow where there's actually a little bit of truth in what's going on and what he has to say. So let me do this right here. There we go. Watch this.
Fox News alert, Iran's closed for business. 2 straight days and 0 ships have gone in and out of their ports. They're strangled. They can't buy or sell anything. And Trump's trying to put his name on their stuff.
You can call it the Strait of Hormuz or the Hormuz Strait. I said, which is better? They said, either is okay, but you can call it either one. The only thing you can't call it is the Trump Strait. They don't like that idea.
Whether the Iranians like it or not, it's our water. Our guided missile destroyers are parked right off their coast, and they haven't done a thing about it. Not a missile, not a rocket, not even a peep from the Mosquito fleet. 10 tankers with Iranian oil tried to bust out, and we turned around all 10. Any ship that gets close, here's this. Listen.
The U.S. has announced a formal blockade of Iranian ports and coastal areas. This is illegal action. All vessels are advised to immediately return to port if leaving and discontinue transit to Iran if that is your next port of call. Do not attempt to breach the blockade. Vessels will be boarded for interdiction and seizure transiting to or from an Iranian port. Turn around and prepare to be boarded. If you do not comply with this blockade, we will use force. The whole of the United States Navy is ready to force compliance. Now.
Soon we'll have 3 carriers in the Gulf, the Lincoln, Ford, and Bush. The Lincoln has 5,000 sailors and Marines on board, executing the blockade from the Arabian Sea. The Ford's in the Eastern Mediterranean, and the Bush is screaming up the Horn of Africa with 6,000 men ready for anything. In a week or so, we'll have the USS Boxer, an amphibious assault ship. The Marines on board are conducting chemical, radiological, and nuclear threat training, just in case. The USS Tripoli is also pulling blockade duty. Here are the boys conducting onboard close quarters training. These are the guys that rappel down from choppers and seize a ship's captain if a vessel with Iranian cargo doesn't follow orders. The Navy's loving the blockade. You know who else is? Morning Joe. He's hearing the same things we are.
They are actually very positive about the blockade. They believe the dynamics have changed radically and that Iran went from having time on their side to Iran now understanding they are going to have to eventually come to a deal. They're degraded radically when it comes to their military operations, and now they're really starting to feel the heat economically if the United States, they say, will continue the blockade.
Iran's on the brink of bankruptcy. They're bleeding over $400 million a day. According to my math, that's $1.3 billion vaporized since Monday. And in less than 2 weeks, they'll have to cap their oil wells. Once the money dries up, their military will miss paychecks, and that could get ugly. On top of the naval blockade, Treasury's unleashing Operation Economic Fury. We're going to bomb their bank accounts. Iran attacked their Arab neighbors, and Now it's payback.
We have pushed out to them the request that we want to freeze more funds of the leadership of the IRGC and any members of Iranian leadership. We have told countries that if you are buying Iranian oil, that if Iranian money is sitting in your banks, we are now willing to apply secondary sanctions, which is a very stern measure. And the Iranians should know that this is going to be the financial equivalent of what we saw in the kinetic activities.
The regime's cooked. The commander-in-chief says we're deep into the fourth quarter, basically, and we're about this close to the mercy rule being called.
I had to divert, because if I didn't do that, right now you would have Iran with a nuclear weapon. And if they had a nuclear weapon, you would be calling everybody over there, sir. And you don't want to do that.
Well, you keep saying was. Is this war over?
I think it's close to over, yeah. I mean, I view it as very close to over. You know what? If I pulled up stakes right now, it would take them 20 years to rebuild that country. And we're not finished. We'll see what happens. I think they want to make a deal very badly.
The Iranians want round 2 of peace talks. And the Chinese are begging him to go back to Pakistan because now Beijing starting to feel the heat.
2 Chinese banks received letters from the U.S. Treasury. I'm not going to identify the banks, but we told them that if we can prove that there is Iranian money flowing through your accounts, then we are willing to put on secondary sanctions.
Xi Jinping got a bit prickly about the embargo. Now wants the whole war over. He sent a letter to Trump, a love letter.
He's somebody that needs oil. We don't. He's somebody I get along with very well. He just wrote me a beautiful letter.
He wrote you a letter?
Yeah, he did. He responded to a letter that I wrote because I had heard that China is giving weapons to, I mean, you're seeing it all over the place, to Iran, that China's
did he
giving
say
weapons.
He's giving them?
Yeah, and I wrote him a letter asking him not to do that. And he wrote me a letter saying that essentially he's not doing that.
Trump says the Chinese are actually happy that we're opening up the strait, saying this: Xi will give me a big fat hug when I get there in a few weeks. Beijing can't buy any more cheap sanctioned Iranian oil, and now every Chinese trade route to the West is controlled by the U.S. Navy. But the Chi-Coms are welcome to buy American, and they already are. The U.S. oil market is open for business, and it is booming. Big oil just had its biggest payday in history. The United States just hit an all-time high all week, exporting 5 million barrels a day. Over 100 tankers are lining up off the Gulf of America to get their frantic little hands on our sweet, sweet crude. And it's not just crude. We're shipping everything from gas, jet fuel, diesel at record levels. And we're getting over 1 million barrels a day from our new amigos in Venezuela. Oil futures for June just dropped into the 80s. Prices at the pump are down from last week's highs and still falling.
If you told me that we were going to be at only $92 a barrel, $92 a barrel, I would have been very surprised. Gasoline's coming down very soon and very big.
So you think gas prices will be lower before the midterm elections?
I think they'll be much lower before midterm, much lower.
After 6 weeks of the war, gas is still cheaper than it was under Biden. And the S&P and NASDAQ just hit all-time highs. That's right. The stock market is at all-time highs. All the losses from the war erased, and we're back at it. It's been one of the best 10-day runs in market history. And hats off to the War Department. We wiped out the Ayatollah and his whole military in 6 weeks. And Iran can't trade with anybody except themselves. We lost more aircraft during training drills last year than we did during this entire war. We were told this was a quagmire. There was no strategy. They even told us Iran was winning. Now, I don't know how you win a war without an Air Force, Navy, or money. It's probably wishful thinking. On top of that, China and Russia haven't done a single thing to stop us, not a single thing, in Venezuela or Iran. Our enemies got exposed, and our allies, well, we know who our true allies really are.
Did you see Europe is now drafting a program and plan to open up the Hormuz Strait without the United States?
That's so sad. We're doing it now. By the way, it's opening. The ships are coming back and forth. or without the United States. It just shows you, how can you have a country, how can you have a group of countries with that attitude? Look at Greenland. We should have Greenland to protect the world against Russia and China. This country should not be paying trillions of dollars to NATO.
And this just in, sources tell USA Today that the Pentagon is planning a decisive operation to force the communists to capitulate in Cuba. So it looks like Trump's going for the hat trick.
Okay, so he packed a lot of information in that little bit. What was it, 8 minutes worth or whatever? Talks about how China and Russia, where they at? They're not coming to the forefront. Why are they allowing these things to happen? He talks about the blockade, what it's going to do to Iran. This is Jesse Waters, and this is mainstream media. This is what we would say the normies are watching. And this little, I guess, monologue maybe is probably the beginning of his segment of his newscast for the evening, where he talks, outlines the rest of the show, right there. But he goes into detail about each little specific thing. Was it how the blockade? Odd that Iran's not lobbing any type of, missiles or drones or anything at our Navy out there. You know what they're blockading, right? I mean, nothing's coming through, and nothing is going in or coming out. But none of Iran's stuff is either. So their infrastructure militarily has been, destroyed. So we're told. And then now you're crippling their economy, right? Initially is what it boils down to. William asks why we're paying $3.70 at the pump. I'm going to tell you a little bit of that is probably due to the operation / war that's going on with Iran, but the rest of it's all price gouging. I mean, 100%. Oil is down right now, below $90 a barrel, or right around $90 a barrel, maybe 92 or 88 or whatever it was, and dropping. In some ways, but at times when it raises, I would say that the giant corporations are probably the biggest problem with the way oil rises and lowers within a 24-hour with a rate time frame, right? I don't know. You might want to research it yourself. That's just my opinion on it. But again, I'm not the biggest fan of Jesse, but I do like how he puts all that together right there in the way that he does. And I'll just go ahead and show you who's all these famous people here. That want to pull the 25th Amendment right here.
Destroy an entire civilization for.
People need to understand is we have
a whole civilization.
States is a madman. In case you
Donald Trump's unhinged post this morning. He is
President Trump has threatened that entire
United States Congress has any life left in it.
Trump just said a whole
for a minute and talk about the genocidal post that
Donald Trump tweeted today that
if posting with barbaric.
The president is unhinged and unwell.
Oh, look at that. Huh. There we go. You didn't want to have me the stage. Yeah. You see that? If you go back and rewind it when the show's over, you'll see a lot of them is Congress and Senate. They all got their little bit of opinions. You only heard the volume when they were actually speaking. Otherwise, it was just scrolling through and there was no volume whatsoever. But pretty neat that all those people that, and some of them were like, Trump supporters way back when, because, some of his distasteful, posts that he shared. If you want to know what Trump is saying and thinking, I would suggest that you look at his truth posts. Don't necessarily believe everything that you read, because not all of it is for us, the U.S. citizen. Some of it's look, there's a whole lot of psychological warfare that goes on, and it's all played that way. Yeah, Alan's talking the same thing about fuel. If it's gouging, how you have fuel in the tanks at the start of the war and it goes up overnight. The fuel in those tanks was paid for. You charge the same and go up, and you have to refill. Of the price per barrel increases, which is exactly correct, and it's more about those people profiting, and it changes drastically. You know what I'm saying? So it's just amazing to me how and why we let these things happen to us. Look at this crap right here. So where am I going? You know, guys, gotta. I believe I'm looking at the wrong. The wrong video. Give me 1 second. Oops. Sure. Yeah, right here. I think is it. I think this is it right here. All right. I found it. Check this out. DEFCON 0. Do this right here. I'll see you guys.
Is what you need to start seeing is FISA is the foundation, FISA is the start. As in, go back to Russiagate, and this is kind of the center part. This is the foundation of all the criminality. You can now go backwards, and now you can go forward, right? So if you go backwards, that takes you to Benghazi. That takes you to Extortion 17, Uranium 1, Ukraine coup. This takes you to what do you get? You get Fast and Furious. You get all the criminality of the Obama administration, stolen SAP programs. So that's previous to that, right? So the question you have to ask yourself was, well, how do you integrate that into a RICO case? Well, why did they spy on Donald Trump's campaign and try to frame him with Russian collusion and information? It was because they knew that Flynn, Trump were coming in to uncover their crimes of the Obama administration. So key there is that they did Russiagate to stop Trump from discovering their criminality of selling out America. So now that's backwards. Now go forward. When they try to take out Trump with FISA-gate, this led to the Mueller investigation, misappropriation of government funds, the 2016 intelligence community assessment, which John Brennan, that's what all that is going on in Fort Pierce, Florida right now, where they use the Steele dossier as the foundational form of evidence to form their opinions, which Senate approved, which is nothing more than utilizing false intelligence that was knowingly false to vindicate that intelligence as the main reason why they use it as the FISA warrants and the unmasked Flynn and all to attack the Trump administration, right? So then you go into 2018, the stolen midterm elections. You have George Soros, and we can go back to the July 2016 emails with the George Soros Open Society Foundation. This is Lenny Bernardo, who is basically talking about Hillary Clinton's campaign manager on foreign affairs has given the green light to the Open Society Foundations to use the Russia collusion hoax on Donald Trump, and that the Open Society Foundations will work with CrowdStrike and Threat Connect, two cybersecurity companies, to start getting the evidence to do this campaign against Donald Trump. That was a July 2016 email. So now you go to 2018, and George Soros finances attorney generals, governors, and secretary of states around the country in various bellwether states in getting their campaigns. And we know that they stole those elections in the midterm. So why did they need those ones? Well, at the time, we thought it was to flood the streets with criminality. No, it had nothing to do with that. It comes about in 2020 because of COVID-19. You go back to event 201. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, you have the WHO, you have Johns Hopkins University. They do an event scenario of a novel coronavirus that is now contagious to human beings. It starts spreading in a wet market in Brazil, and they have to develop a novel mRNA vaccine to go out there and vaccinate the entire world. Well, that's kind of interesting, and it affects geopolitics and the economy all over the place. And 2 months later, the actual event happens. Coincidentally, I don't believe in coincidences. And that causes the same states that George Soros campaigned in for the Secretary of State, the Attorney General, and the governors to begin changing the election laws to allow for mail-in ballots. Now, the way that they changed it was the Secretary of State, who runs the state elections, would change the law, make the change, and send it down to the Attorney General, which would approve it, and the governor would go out there and stamp it. Well, guess what? That is unconstitutional and illegal because only the Congress or state assemblies can change laws, not the bureaucrats that are appointed. But that didn't happen until years later when people won the cases, but they said that the election already happened, so it's kind of null and void. But here's the thing. That was a predicate for George Soros to steal the elections in the midterms in 2018. And then now you see a coincidence that George Soros and Bill and Melinda Gates are freaking funding millions upon millions of dollars into mRNA vaccine research, as well as into novel test therapies for coronavirus and other zoological viruses from 2018, 2019, which then made them billions of dollars in 2020 when coronavirus actually hit, almost like they had some inside information that this was going to happen. And you can tie that directly back to 2014, Peter Daszak, Equal Health Alliance, how Peter Daszak fits into the World Health Organization connections, the Bill and Melinda Gates connections directly to the Tides Foundation, the Ford Foundation, that interconnecting with the Open Society Foundations. And then you can look at how that goes to Wuhan Institute of Virology. Anthony Fauci and NIAID uses a $3 million grant to fund that research, American research for gain-of-function research in a Chinese university, which is then released multiple years later, 6 years later in 2020, to steal the election from Donald Trump. We're seeing the election stuff come out right now. This is how it's all interconnected. And
So that's wild. Did you listen to that? It's like a minute, maybe 2.5 minutes. He goes through a whole progression of Donald Trump from the time that he comes down the elevator to present time. When I said he changed the game board, it's exactly what he did. It's odd to me that Donald Trump was this amazing guy that came into the scene. He had what was it, the Miss America pageant? He had what was that show that he did where he let's make a deal. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. The Apprentice. Did The Apprentice. All those things. He was a builder, realtor, was well known in New York City, well loved by lots and lots of people until the day he decided to come down the escalator. And then Josh Reed goes through all that right there, right? He changed the game board. People out here are trying to say that he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't all these other things. And I would say that he's done his best to put the right people around him so that he could accomplish some goals that were much needed for this country. First and foremost, getting us back on track again, bringing manufacturing back home, pharmaceuticals home, trying to get the infrastructure restarted, going again. Look, the things that are going on with AI right now and energy and space dominance, if that's what you believe, these things, America, if we love our country the way that we do, we need to be the leader in those types of things. It may be arrogant to some people out there that don't believe America first. And I'm not saying that we don't need to elaborate with other countries and other like-minded people. You're fired. Yeah, exactly. But America first. All this needs to be here. We don't need to depend on any other country or any other hemisphere to have the things that we need that are essential. It makes no sense to me how society as a whole can argue against that, or the people that they claim that we put in positions to make decisions for us argue against that. Makes no sense to me. We should be building all our vehicles that we buy here, which pretty much is what's going on now. AI, all here. Energy, all here. I'm of the opinion that as energy grows based on technology, we shouldn't be so afraid to experiment with it. I like the nuclear age. We grew up in a time when that word nuclear was bad, just like the word militia is bad now, and it's not. So it's the same thing. They lied to us over decades to keep us away from energy sources that would remove government. And so these things are changing now. These things are happening. These things are in place. These manufacturing companies, chips, microchips, everything that we have, these laptops, cars, watches, all that shit it has a chip in it, right? So that's coming back home. The oil industry, did you see what was going on? Because of what's happened over there in Iran, because whoever the hell's in charge over there, and we know that Israel plays a big role in this, and that's another thing. Israel and Lebanon have this ceasefire going on. Last week, I told you that Israel, just my opinion, so I'm not saying that I told you like I told you so type thing. It's based off the information that I have, some of the stuff that you guys are watching that I'm sharing, the research that we all try to do. I don't know if you're not doing it, then that's on you, not on me. And we see the landscape of how the world is changing. It's not the same as it was in the George Bush Senior era of the New World Order, like my old man would try to have us still believe. This has changed. War is not the same as it was during that time. War is information. I mean, it's about the information. It's about the landscape of what's going on through the hearts and minds of the culture and the region in which you want to change. And so this is where I say he changed the game board. He's brilliant because he's removing the old guard, the New World Order. As I said at the very beginning, they don't understand how he's dominating it the way that it is. And it doesn't always look so appealing to us as a civilization. But it is what it is. And again, I think it's about the fact that it's about way about the future and not so much what's going on now. I believe benefits when I'm gone. You know, what my grandfather did in the 40s and the 50s, you know, he did because he knew that whatever was going to happen was going to benefit us when he was gone. And that's what the hell we're doing now. And you don't have to agree. As a matter of fact, I would hope you wouldn't agree, that you would go look for yourself, that you would do just like what I'm doing right here and go, damn, I can't believe it. Because at the very end, I'm going to play Prometheus Action. But you ought to go back and listen to Carolyn Levette, Scott Bessett, and the ladies, the other lady up there whose name has escaped me. They're where they come out with their White House briefing once a week or whatever. Listen to what they say. They talked about the oil tankers that were out in the sea just floating full of oil. They were Russian. These tariffs that were added and subtracted to make other things happen. DEFCON 0, they talked about it a few weeks ago. Just that way. Promethean Action talked about it this way just a few weeks ago. The old guard and how it's all working together. And slowly but surely, and all the right little innuendos that you want to hear. Not saying it's perfect, and I'm not even saying it's the plan, but I'm saying it's what it's looking like when you listen to what's coming out of the White House. So if you follow Trump's truth posts, listen to the briefings from the White House, the press secretary. They give us a little bit of a picture of what's going on. These podcasters, pretty interesting. Check this out right here.
FISA equals start equals foundation. Think layers. How do you build a house? This is what we're in right now. This is where you get all three movies. Guardian of the Pedophiles. This is Epstein and that dark occult network that operates within global politics infrastructure. This is the old imperialistic European old guard that we've talked about. This is the new formation of their government infrastructure that's in China. That's the part of the PLA and the CCP elders, the deep state in China. This is the deep state in Israel. This is spread throughout the world in this infrastructure of influence. And what we're talking about right now is just a small piece of the puzzle that's here in the United States of America that's crumbling down because these top level echelons are being dismantled. The systems of power are being dismantled at this top level, which then has profound effects on everything underneath it. And
all at the same time, Josh.
All at the same time, exactly.
So,
all three movies at the same time.
I dare somebody to come out and tell me that Trump don't know what the hell he's doing.
So I dare somebody come out here and tell me Trump doesn't know what the hell he's doing. I'm not saying that the prices that we're paying at the pump, the prices at the grocery store, all these things are not hitting our pocket. I'm not saying that. Look what the illegitimate administration, that Biden dude, our boy Blue, look what he did. Look at how the deep state and all of that still has its tentacles inside of our government. I mean, think about it like this. Trump is battling things on a foreign level and a domestic level within our government and outside of our government, within our borders and outside of our borders, all at the same damn time. And he's managing it. That's why I said he changed the game board. He did right. All of his little memes, that was just to stir up the crowds, means nothing. Nothing to us. They meant something broader to someone else. But the fact that emotions were ruffled, the Christian community, come on. I mean, if you read your Bible, it tells you, I'll even go one step further. We'll just remove, not that I'm trying to say remove God from it, but we'll remove it from this conversation for a second. I was raised by my mother that sticks and stones would break my bones, but words would never hurt me. So the garbage that comes on this screen that we all watch, or the screen on the television, or any of that, none of that affects me, except for emotionally. It doesn't hurt me. You know what I mean? It doesn't work that way, and so I don't allow it to do that, and to the best of my ability. Except I was trying to share some stuff that it would trigger more people, So we expose the idiots that are out there. That, oh, I support what's going on, and oh my God, did you see that picture that he really thinks he's Jesus Christ? Can you believe that? We live in the Bible Belt. That's it. I'm done. I'm not voting for him again. Really? Can he run again? I never thought about it that way, but what kind of guy is he? I mean, he's supposed to be our president. What type of example is he setting out there? Really? Did you ever watch any of the stuff that Iran set out there where it said death to America and they burnt the flag? That was in their parliament, like live on their television that went across their whole country. Did you ever see those things? Well, no. Get over it. Quit being offended. He's not a politician. Quite frankly, I think it's funny. Sort of mixed up everything a little bit. Just my opinion. Look there, Danny Else is in the conversation. Look at that. Danny Elson is in the conversation. So that's DEFCON 0, and that's their version of a lot of stuff. We went over a lot of stuff. I mean, everything that's going on within our country and outside of our country, all is designed to remove the old guard. And I don't know about you. I'm all for it. If it makes things better, I'm going to be a papaw sometime at the end of the year. Another little Riley. And I want to make sure that little feller, when he grows up and he has his own little feller, or daughter, he ain't got to worry about this. And he's going to say, my great papa, man, he used to have his podcast. And he ran his mouth all the time. And thank God he did. Because we wouldn't be where we are right now if it wasn't for those people, Generation X. It's a little biased dated. So anyway, Promethean Action. Susan Kokinda, I think is exactly how her name is pronounced. The Monday Brief. They're amazing. It's just another version of somebody else talking about the same things that we've been talking about for a long damn time. Anyway, like, share, and follow. And I'm going to play this and maybe talk for a couple more seconds and then leave with some people on the porch and call it an evening, because we have Melissa Marinville tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And yeah, got to prepare for that. So check out this right here.
Yesterday, President Trump put the empire on notice with this post. This is world extortion, and leaders of countries, especially the United States, will never be extorted. That's not a threat. That's an exposure. That's a man who was named a hidden game, a game fought in the shadows for decades. And here's what this president sounds like when he knows he has won this round.
Make a deal or not makes no difference to me. And the reason is because we've won. But from my standpoint, I don't care.
And here's what he's demanding.
They haven't left the bargaining table. I predict they come back and they give us everything we want. And I told my people, I want everything. I don't want 90%. I don't want 95%. I told them, I want everything.
They have no cards. That is the verdict of a president who hasn't just changed the outcome. He's changed the board itself. Now, right now on social media, there are people, including some who voted for Trump, who are calling for the 25th Amendment, saying he's lost it, he's reckless, he started a war nobody wanted, and now he's telling us he doesn't care whether we win or lose. Well, here's what they're missing. Iran is not the target. Iran is a node, a piece on the board the British Empire has managed for over a century. And the president's real target is the infrastructure of imperial control itself. The financial choke points, the energy dependencies, the offshore banking apparatus. He's naming it, and he's forcing a hidden war into the daylight where it can finally be fought and won. I'm Susan Kokinda, and I've watched the empire operate in the shadows for over a century. Now it's out in the open, and if you want to understand what that means, then hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons. I'm going to cover three things today. First, how Trump flipped the Strait of Hormuz extortion operation and why Keir Starmer isn't happy. Second, how Iran's financial pipeline is being rolled up and why that leads to London. And third, why Britain's own military chief just confessed that the empire has no war plan. So for over a century, the Strait of Hormuz has been the empire's ultimate leverage point. Whoever controls it controls who prospers and who doesn't. Britain managed that choke point through Iran, through successive regime changes that go back to Mossadegh. But it was different regimes and the same imperial function. Keep the region unstable, keep the choke point contested, keep the world dependent. That's the protection racket in its purest form. The mob breaks your windows, keeping the region unstable, keeps the ships from moving, and then charges you for the protection that makes passage possible. Lloyd's of London was the insurance arm of the racket. You want your ship to transit the strait? Then buy our coverage. And the City of London collected a cut on every ship. Iran breaking windows was good for business because up until now, Lloyd's just raised the premiums. Then Donald Trump moved to shut down the racket, and Lloyd's canceled all the insurance. The president told his Treasury Secretary, move in and have the U.S. provide insurance. He broke their financial arm first. Now he's finishing the job militarily. He's ending world extortion. On Fox yesterday, here's what the president said.
We're not going to let Iran make money on selling oil to people that they like and not people that they don't like or whatever it is. It's going to be all or none, and that's the way it is. And it'll be, you saw what we did with Venezuela. It'll be something very similar to that, but at a higher level.
All or none. No imperial management, no picking winners and losers. The choke point is American now, not just because America seized it, but because America named what it actually was and is refusing to play the game any longer. And this morning, we got the clearest possible confirmation of what has actually changed. Keir Starmer, the prime minister of the country that managed this choke point for a century, was asked whether Britain would join the American blockade. And he said no. Now, the president has described Starmer's position throughout this Iran conflict very clearly, characterizing it more than once as a, quote, Neville Chamberlain statement. So the mob's enforcer has been neutralized. Now, admittedly, Keir Starmer is a pretty pathetic excuse for a Don, but his bluff has been called. The choke point the British Empire managed for a century is now an American operation. Britain didn't lose access to the strait. Britain lost the game. Now, if you want to understand the full depth of this fight, the imperial architecture that the president is dismantling, and what it means for America's future, you need to be reading Promethean Action. So subscribe to our free newsletter. The link is in the description. Now, that's the physical side of the protection racket. Here's the rest of it. The U.S. is targeting the money flows to the guys who break the windows. Let's start with Dubai. The conservative treehouse flagged the story today in a post entitled, "Cut Off the Money. The U.S. military will start enforcing embargo." They report that the blockade is happening against the little-discussed backdrop of Dubai targeting Iranian money changers. Dubai was the washing machine where oil proceeds went in and clean dollars came out. UAE authorities arrested dozens of IRGC-linked money changers, shut down their companies, and closed their offices. The Gulf states just shut the machine off. But that's not all. 2 days before Epic Fury launched, Treasury Secretary Bessent deployed Section 311 of the Patriot Act against Ember Merchant Bank in Zurich, which has laundered over $100 million of IRGC money. Ember is now being liquidated, and Secretary Bessent's statement wasn't just addressed to Iran. Banks should be on notice that the U.S. Treasury will aggressively protect the integrity of the U.S. financial system using the full force of our authorities. Now, Section 311 is the nuclear option of financial warfare. Bessent used it 2 days before the war began. That is not a coincidence. And here are a few other publicly named institutions that could be next, and they're headquartered in London. 2 London-registered crypto exchanges processed roughly $1 billion for the IRGC since 2023. And Santander UK ran Iranian petrochemical front companies right near Buckingham Palace. So the City of London's books are open, and Bessent has shown he knows how to read them. Iran's money is being cut off from the Gulf to London to Zurich. Its neighbors have now chosen sides, and the choke point is named and claimed. So what does Britain have left? This week, Britain's own military chief told us. Air Chief Marshal Sir Richard Knighton admitted that the United Kingdom is updating its government war book, a strategic blueprint which has not been actively maintained since the Cold War, that is, for 30 years. Institutional knowledge has been lost, muscle memory diminished, and several years of calm has created a situation where very few in the UK would know how to respond to a war footing. 30 years, no functioning war plan. Why didn't that matter until now? Because Britain had the United States. For the 3 decades, the empire ran its geopolitical agenda on American muscle. Washington provided the troops and the carrier groups. London provided the financial plumbing and the narrative management. The City of London didn't need a war plan, and it required only one thing, an America that never asked questions. Now, that arrangement had a brand name, NATO. Britain has been the key architect of NATO's political direction since its founding, shaping its missions and its mandate and pointing American power where the empire needed it, like Iraq, Libya, Syria, Afghanistan. Every one of those wars had British intelligence fingerprints on the trigger. NATO was the mechanism, and American taxpayers and American soldiers were the instrument. Trump has now called all of that into question, and the British establishment hasn't recovered from the shock. Because without American muscle, NATO is a bureaucracy with a flag, and without NATO, Britain has no war plan. So Sir Knighton's admission isn't a military embarrassment. It's a civilizational confession. But the empire has lost something else. For 20 years, the ideology holding much of this together was the green transition. That energy dependency didn't matter because renewables were coming. And then the Iran war blew that apart. When the strait closed, the green narrative couldn't keep the lights on or the filling stations supplied. Reality asserted itself, and the people who lived closest to physical reality felt it first. Irish farmers and truck drivers have been out in the streets, in force. 600 of Ireland's 1,500 filling stations out of fuel, and the Irish Defence Forces deployed against their own farmers. Although there are reports that a lot of the police and the military are calling in sick. Now, these aren't radicals. These are the people who live in physical reality, who need fuel to farm, to haul, and to heat. And they're calling the question. Meanwhile, Keir Starmer told the British public he is fed up with energy bills being affected by decisions involving Trump and Putin. Really? The prime minister of the country that built the choke point system, that ran the offshore banking apparatus funding the IRGC, and that imposed a green regime on his own country, is blaming Trump and Putin? That's not a political statement. That's a confession of defeat. So while the press is asking whether Vice President Vance got a deal in Islamabad, it's the wrong question. President Trump answered the right one before the talks started, when he said he didn't care about the outcome, because he'd already won the game that mattered. He dragged the extortion racket into the open. The empire ran the world through choke points that were never named, financial pipelines that were never traced, and a military arrangement that was never questioned. Concealment was their operating system. Promethean Action has been shining the light on that system all along and building the forces that can now back up the president in ending the empire's extortion racket. So if you want to be part of that, become a paying member or a contributor to our movement. Go to the Promethean Action website and sign up. Because the empire is running out of cards, and it's time to end their game. This has been your Monday Brief. Thanks for watching.
Please.
That's pretty interesting. She's saying the same thing. She just said it better, maybe. Maybe she said it better than how I would say it, because I talk more like a common person than someone that has a little bit of education like she does. How she brings in Europe and Britain and the old guard and all that stuff, which is absolutely the truth. She says, refusing to play the game. Trump's been refusing to play the game. People don't understand that. It's throwing things into a frenzy, including people in this country. They go crazy. Berserko. Why doesn't he do what everybody else is doing? We voted for someone not to do what everyone else was doing. And then when he does it, what do we get? We get some bullshit, right? What else is there? America that asks no questions, right? Who's doing that? The old guard. Who's the old guard? Britain, Europe, all those people out there. As long as we had the muscle for them, what did they not have to do? No war plan. NATO. What about NATO? Said at the very beginning, we absolutely 100% fund NATO. Without NATO, guess what? Britain has no war plan. And guess what they're having to do now? Ever since the Cold War. I was in school. I got a video of, it's called Generation X, and they talk about specifically hiding under a desk for a Cold War. Like if, somebody lobbed a missile from Russia, so to speak. We were supposed to get under our desks and put our hands under, like that was supposed to help us, protect us from some sort of missile or nuclear fallout or something like that. So, all right, there's been a lot going on in the chat, it looks like. And I would like to go through a little bit of it before I get off of here. James is in the chat. James Richards, how you doing, bud? Danny Elson talking about no federal income tax. William Goins talking about he needs to release documents that Tesla had to make energy free because energy's where it is, guys, right? Let's see what else. Yep. Oh, William's great papa. Great grandpa. Great. He's a great grandpa. Congratulations. You ask, if that's so, then why is the IRS and the Federal Reserve, aka Bank of England, still printing IOUs, aka the US dollar? That's a great question. That stuff should not exist, and it's based off of birth certificates, I believe. Danny says he heard Europe has like 16 days of jet fuel left. Should be interesting. Maybe they will stand up with us and take control of their hemisphere. How neat. Because if we go back to our uh, National Defensive Strategy, the NDS 26, we are realigning ourselves. We are taking our hemisphere. There's another hemisphere. I think there's a little one over there. But exactly that. Take control of their hemisphere. That's their oil. Right? Pretty simple, if you ask me. Ed Reno in there. All kinds of stuff. Talking about how he was related to the two previous sheriffs that were both convicted, went to jail. I guess Bronx smarter than they are. He just hadn't got caught, right? Or he did, and however that works. Let's see. William goes to smoke screen. It's a Zionist play. The Zionists are playing a game. It's all fake. It's a shell game, and we're being played. I say that so much about how it's all fake and gay. People don't like that. Can't be saying everything's all fake and gay, but it's all fake. We're just involved in whatever that game is that's being carried out at that moment. Let's see. Hegelian dialect. You've been listening to Burning Bright on Badlands Media? He talks like that. Danny says several countries in NATO don't even pay their share as it is anyway, and we should tell them to kick rocks. They haven't been paying their very fair share, and they have no war plan because they have American muscle. Like Barracuda, Camaro. What else is there? Trans Ams. No, military muscle, like our youth, the strong of our country. That's what they had, and they don't have it anymore, and they should never have it again. Let's see. James says, "Got a free shower, caught out. Got a free shower, caught out in it." Oh, he got caught in the rain. I think is what he's saying because we haven't had none in a little bit. We ain't had no rain in a little while, at least in our area. And so, yeah, we had a good one come through here in the last hour or so. Ed says, I think it should be dissolved. Everyone takes their toys and go home where we belong. And then James says, Halliburton, is your boots on the ground? All great. It's awesome that the comments and the following that goes on during the show, pretty cool. Appreciate it very, very much, guys. But it is late. It's 10:30, and it's time to get out of here. And we're going to leave on a positive note. We're going to play some People on the Porch. And while the People on the Porch is playing, the live chat will still be open. But by the way, like, share, follow. Remember, tomorrow night is Melissa Maraville, and we're going to do accountability. We're going to do systems and child abuse. Yeah. Under an hour, starts at 7. And then Saturday, April 18th, from 1:30 to 3:30 at the public library, child protection. Yep. Yeah. Even the categories, child protection. And they're going to be there. Melissa's going to be there. Jeff Coggin's going to be there. Jerry Burns is going to be there. It's not a debate. It's not political. It's about protecting your kids. Get out there and show up. And you'll get to see the four of us from Blount County Breakdown. That's me, and that's Robert, that's Crystal, and that's Jason, and plus Melissa, Jeff Coggin, Melissa, Dr. Melissa Marinville, Jeff Coggin, retired Air Force, and Jerry Burns, Forest Sheriff of Blount County, Tennessee, 2026. All right, guys, let's see. Before we get out here, let me see if there's any more. Trying to. Nice. Looking forward to meet you at the library. Thank you, William. You too. Looking forward to meet you. Ed, if you're in town, come out to the library on Saturday, 1:30 to 3:30, brother. Everybody else, share the crap out of this. And remember, people on the porch, they're amazing. Look them up. They're on Instagram. Have a good evening.
My heart, pumping all day long. Get me the morning when darkness comes. My heart, ooh. It takes so long to mend. It's harder to lean on this shell of a man. You found love in the Lord, your family and your friends. Could you please pray for me that I can find the same within? My heart, pumping all day long. When the evening comes, please stay strong. Give me the morning when darkness falls. My heart, I found victory in the Father's love from the day we wed. And those vows still hold true. Nothing's gonna tear me down until the day I'm dead. My heart belongs to you. I'm gonna pick my bones up and walk through the storm I made. I'm gonna head on home before it gets too late. I turn it upside down and be thankful for what he gave. I'm gonna pick my bones up and walk through the storm I made. I'm gonna hold on tight to you when it gets rough. I'm gonna lay down all my she holds you tight when you need it most. It gives you just that little bit, just to keep on living. And that's when you find out what you're made of. I'm gonna pick my bones up and walk through the storm I made. I'm gonna head on home before it gets too late. I turn it upside down and be thankful for what he gave. I'm gonna pick my bones up and walk through the storm I made. I'm gonna hold on tight to you when it gets rough. I'm gonna lay down all my cards and call your bluff. Because the one thing in this moonlit room I trust is the beauty of your smile and the warmth inside your touch. Oh, there's nothing like love of a woman. The way she holds you tight, when you need it most. It gives you just that little bit, just to keep on living. And that's when you find out what you're made of. That's when you find out. That's when you find out what you're made of. My heart is like a lighthouse, just trying to get you home. Your soul is like an anchor, just dragging you along. Pay no mind to what I'm saying. I've been drinking all day long. I just wanna hold you while we dance to this song. We were younger when we first laid eyes. I was walking up in heaven's skies. How about you? Did you feel it too? I don't believe in love at first sight. Now you make me wanna change my mind. How about you? Oh, how about you? My heart is like a lighthouse, just trying to get you home. Your soul is like an anchor, just dragging you along. Pay no mind to what I say. I've been drinking all day long. I just wanna hold you while we dance to this song. When the soul is like an anchor, just dragging you along. Pay no mind to what I say. I've been drinking all day long. I just wanna hold you while we dance through this song. I just wanna hold you, just wanna hold you while we dance to this song. Walking a gray line in a world that's black and white. Wondering why things they did not turn out quite right. Please believe me, please don't leave me. I said I'm sorry, didn't you hear me? The rain, the rain, the rain is falling slow. It's cold, we know. We're standing in it too. You're there, your hair is soaking wet. Please take my jacket. Take it. Please believe me. Please don't leave me. I said I'm sorry. Didn't you hear me? Please believe me. Please don't leave me now. I said I'm sorry. I said I'm sorry. Didn't you hear me? The rain, the rain, the rain is falling slow. It's cold, we know. We're standing in it too. You're there, your hair is soaking wet. Please take my jacket. You look better in it anyway. You look better in it anyway. Just take it. Just take it. Watching you go through it. You're living, you're loving, you're laughing, you're playing, you're singing, you're dancing in the dark. You're dancing in the dark. I said I'm sorry. You're dancing in the dark. I said I'm sorry. Didn't you hear me? Please believe me. Please don't leave me. I said I'm sorry. Didn't you hear me? Please believe me. Please don't leave me now. I said I'm sorry. Didn't you hear me? Please believe me. Please don't leave me now. I said I'm sorry. Didn't you hear me? Please don't leave me now. I said I'm sorry. Didn't you hear me? Please believe me. Please don't leave me now. I said I'm sorry. Didn't you hear me? Please don't leave me now. I said I'm sorry. Didn't you hear me? Please don't leave me now. I said I'm sorry. Didn't you hear me? Please don't leave me now. I said I'm sorry. Didn't you hear me? Please don't leave me now. I said I'm sorry. Didn't you hear me? Please don't leave me now. I said I'm sorry. Didn't you hear me? Please don't leave me now. I said I'm sorry. Didn't you hear me? Please don't leave me now. I said I'm sorry. Didn't you hear me? Please don't leave me now. I said I'm with these things that I call my own. Life, it isn't always grand, but when you finally take that stand, you become a man. You needed to You meant everything to me. While you left, I could not see. I guess people just do what they want. Time, it goes faster every day, and my heart, it leads the way, while the future, it fades into a memory. Is always at my back. My back is always strapped with these things that I call my own.